Hello everybody, this is NAPA Fan here, and we are here at the Riverside International Raceway for race number 4 in the 2019 NOFSRL Haas IndyCar Series. This is NAPA, Indy, California from Riverside. Only the second road course of the season, but it's going to be a fun one. We get really high speeds here, we get pit strategy, and last year we had somebody with a fuel leak issue, Eric Monaco, right as he was coming to the checkered flag, and it gave way to Justin Zajdel, winning his first ever IndyCar Series race. And we mentioned Justin Zajdel because he has finished second in all of the races so far this season. Finished second at Daytona on fuel strategy, finished second in a great battle with Jonathan King at Phoenix, and then last week, or 2 weeks ago I should say, at the Auto Club Speedway, finished second to race winner Christopher Alphabet. So I'm going to ask you, Alex, what are your odds that Justin Zajdel is going to get a win here today, knowing that he got the victory last year and he's been doing solid so far this season?
Well, the odds are really in his favor. I mean, he's done really good so far this season, as you said before, finishing within the top 5 in the first 3 to 4 races almost. I'd say 3 races anyway. But yeah, I mean, the odds are in his favor. He's going to get a win at some point within these next 2 or 3 races. If it's going to be today, I mean, that would be great for him. But if it's not, he's still got a whole season ahead of him, and he has been very consistent these past couple races, the way he's been running.
He starts 7th here today in the number 10, and he has 124 points towards the championship as well. The next guy in line was the last race winner here in the Haas IndyCar Series, Christopher Alphabet, who won the MAV TV 100 2 weeks ago, who is 41 points behind. Mind to tell you, we're only 3 races in the season, and already Justin Zajdel almost has a full race points lead ahead of second place. That is how good Zajdel's been doing this season. Nathan Faden is 43 points behind. He was doing a stellar job this season in the number 21. Davey Johnson, the Daytona road course winner, is 47 points behind, and Joe Rutkowski 52 points behind, coming into the 4th race of the season. This is Napa, Indy, California. It's the 4th edition of this race. This and Watkins Glen and Lime Rock, I believe, are the 3 road courses on the circuit that we've gone to the longest, so great to see this place back, and it's going to be a good race here today with Christian Russell starting on the pole position alongside Richard Kinghart in the number 13. Ryan Kinghart at Auto Club 2 weeks ago, his development driver was the 200th winner on Napa Fan in that IROC race in California, so congratulations to him on that. Row number 2, we got Dan Park and Noah Clifton. Both of those guys looking for their first wins of the season. The number 19 machine, sorry, that's the number 20 of Al Agassi. 19 is an Andy Carpenter, who am I kidding? Number 20 of Al Agassi starting alongside the 98 of Cody Samartin. And there's Justin Zajdel alongside Audra Baranowskis in row number 4. Row number 5 sees the 19, that's the true 19 of Agar Barreto alongside the Phoenix winner of Jonathan King. Head down the back straightaway, a long back straightaway here at the Riverside International Raceway. One of the fastest parts of this racetrack. I know you were mentioning at the top of the show before we started recording that might see some cars go airborne there. Wondering if there will be a crash here. Do you think we'll ever get a crash in that backstretch, maybe in this race, or do you think all the crashes are going to happen on the other side of the racetrack through the S's?
Anything is possible in this race today. I mean, we have seen them testing in the past, and in the past we've seen when they tested here that, you know, there were some crashes in the S section, and there are yet to be crashes on this back straightaway, but anything is possible in today's race. All I know is I'm super pumped to see who will win today. My pick, even though I'm saying that down the line Justin Zajdel might get a win, I'm going to go for Noah Clifton to win today. I mean, he seems to be where he is right now in the race, or at least where he's lining up, might be a good possibility for him to win the race. And plus, to add on to the good hope I'm talking about right now, he has a really nice paint scheme right there. Really nice, spiffy looking car.
I can agree, and I think you know why. Well, either way, We're ready to get this one started. Race 4 is underway at Riverside, 15 laps here around this 2.6-mile road course. Gotta watch out for this. Clifton off the racetrack just a little bit. He pushed off Cody Smart Smart is not getting a good run there. He lost control of his race car, and he's getting surpassed by a lot of guys and around somebody off the race course. It's the number 30. That car driven by Jaden Scott, and the last winner, Christopher Alphabee. And we'll go ahead and show a replay of that accident. Since we were at a road course, there are no cautions, so keep that in mind. And a huge pull away for Christian Russell in the number 4, trying to grab his first career NAPA fan win. Richard Kinghart, Dan Park, Al Lagasse, and Noah Clifton. Justin Zajdel running 6th in the number 10. That is the car Eric Monaco drove last year when he had his fuel leak issue coming to the checkered flag, which gave Justin Zajdel his race victory. Al Lagasse on Dan Park. That is for 3rd, side by side at the line. We get that here, Riverside. Get this side-by-side run to the line. Might be at the finish as well, but right now, Christian Russell's looking like he's going to pull away.
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at the top speeds and how fast these cars are going through there, I mean, some of them, yeah, they're cutting through the S sections in some areas, but I mean, track limits at this track, really not much of a factor here as we have a battle between Al Lagasse and Noah Clifton.
Ooh, Clifton in the outside wall. He's going to lose a ton of ground. Your pick to win. It's not going to be a good day for him after that one. He's going to lose a lot of ground, and there goes Justin Zajdel. He's going to take the 4th position away, or attempt to do so, on Al Lagasse. I mean, Justin Zajdel has done something unbelievable. I think we determined the odds of that happening to be 1 in 10,000. So, Zajdel doing a great job this season in the number 10. He's going to surpass Al Lagasse. He's now in the 4th position after starting 7th in only 2 laps. But Christian Russell, get him those bonus points for the laps led right now. However, Richard Kinghart is looking to close in. That lap by, he closed in by 0.3 of a second. So watch out for Richard Kinghart to possibly take this lead away. He's a pretty good road course driver. He's won a couple of times at Watkins Glen and other series.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Richard Kinghart, the way he's performing today, doing really well so far, running up here in his second.
Oh, Christian Russell overshot the corner! And there goes Kinghart right to the race lead. Rookie mistake by Christian Russell in lap 3. He went into that turn way too hot. He's going to lose another position possibly to Dan Park, and a huge opportunity for Justin Zajdel. I mean, I think it'll actually be more impressive for Justin Zajdel to finish 2nd in this race versus getting the win. I mean, yeah, just think if that were to happen. But either way, think about this one. Zajdel currently in the 4th position. It's going to be his 4th straight top 5 in the first 4 races either way. There goes Dan Park for 2nd, by the way, as Kinghart's going to lead lap 3. You know, if Zajdel gets this, he's going to have a full race points lead on 2nd place. And he is going to be almost unstoppable for this championship because none of the races are double points this year. So, you know, if he's going to rack up a full race points lead this early on in the season, you know he's got the threat to win it. But he just went through the gravel. Not at all what Zajdel wanted to do right there. And Al Lagasse might close in a little bit. How about the number 3, Keyshawn Richardson up here? Audra Baranowskis, Cody Smart, and the 19 of Igor Barreto all running up front right now inside the top 10.
I mean, this race is probably one of the most impressive. And if you think Justin Zajdel is going to win, then go to your bookies right now and make sure you book that bet that Justin Zajdel might pull off this win. So, you know, get your bookies.
We're not sponsored. We're not sponsored by any betting sites, but
no.
I wish we had some sponsors. That'd be cool. Get some money.
That would actually be awesome if we had like some company.
I will admit, I have not made a dime from anything that I've done here on this channel. And most people, by the time they hit my age and hit, you know, my stage in their YouTube career, they probably have monetized the channel. I haven't. I don't need to. I just enjoy this that much. That's how much I love it. And Keyshawn Richardson's loving it. He got around Al Lagasse. He's going to go inside the top 5 right there in the number 3. Christian Russell's still in this thing. He's running 3rd right now. These guys are going super fast here, entering this part of the racetrack. And, I mean, they are coming close to completely going off the racetrack, getting that wall out there. But either way, they're keeping it together right now. I think we had one guy have an issue. Oh, a couple guys. Jordan Lopez. He's fallen off the pace quite a bit, and I think the number 17 of Thomas Troxel also had an issue. And how about Christian Russell going back at it on Dan Park? That is for the 2nd position. You know, Russell has some damage from hitting that outside wall, but you know what? It's not affecting him that much because he's right on this 23 for 2nd.
Yeah, I mean, Christian Russell right now, he's doing pretty well for someone who made a mistake and is now going to try and make it basically on the road to comeback here. Hopefully get back up into that lead and contend for the win again. Out of that AJ Foyt Enterprise camp.
So I'm pretty sure, my guess is this going to be a one-stop race here. We got it on 3x pit frequency, so I would expect it to be one stop. It's only a 40-mile race. But how do you think that's going to shake out the field here? I mean, Richard Kinghart, but his team is thinking about this pit stop here and how it's going to affect him in this race. Oh, boy!
Oh, whoa! That was close.
They are pushing the limit here today in NAPA, Indy, California at Riverside. That's what I always loved about this race. It's one of the better road course races of the season in the IndyCar Series. Why it stayed on the schedule because of all these cars going all over the place.
Yeah, but as for the pit stop standards, I mean, I'm not quite sure how it's going to play out here coming up soon. I mean, you know, the way Kinghart's running right now, he's doing pretty well. And if the team wants to try and stay in the lead here, moving into the pit window, they're going to have to decide, well, do we want to pit early? Do we want to pit late? Because there's really no guarantee of who's going to pit when. It just happens. So for right now, all they're thinking is, do we want to pit early on and focus, or do we want to pit a little bit past halfway? Like, what do we want to do? That's basically the question that's going on right now alongside the paddock area, and especially alongside into that Ed Carpenter number 13 camp right there, is how the strategy is going to play out.
So the number 13 of Richard Kinghart, his teammate Al Agassi was showing him back in there. He overshot the corner again. And, you know, Dan Park and Christian Russell are both closing back in on him here. So, you know, Kinghart's probably got to be thinking about Dan Park now because he's threatening for this race lead. And I can't get out this guy. You know, Justin Zajdel finished second a majority of the race last year to come home with the win. You know, he's getting in that prime position once again. And he's only about 3 seconds off the race leader. And we still have another set of pit stops left to go. So, watch out for Justin Zajdel. He is just the guy to beat in this series this season. But right now, it's a battle between Dan Park and Richard Kinghart.
As I said before, go to your bookies. Go to them right now. I mean, seriously, I think Kinghart's going to win today.
Well, there's nobody putting up any money for this race. I can guarantee you.
No, I can guarantee you that, but it's a good running joke.
It is. If we were, I'd definitely put my money on him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would put my money on Zajdel as well. I mean, heck, this race today, the way it's going on, I would have put my money on Kinghart before I would have put it on Zajdel, no offense. But, I mean, seriously, the way Kinghart's racing
Christian
today,
Russell again. He's not figuring that corner out, and Zajdel is one position away from his magic number. Just like that. It's unbelievable what Zajdel's done this season. We're past halfway. We'll be past halfway once we cross the line next time by. So these guys are ready to go. They're in the fuel window to go to the end. And all these guys, I think, have a shot at, you know, possibly taking the lead away because, you know, they're all pretty close to each other here. They get a good draft off each other down that long back straightaway, so you got to watch out. Get someone close enough to you, they might be able to make a pass. Kinghart able to stay out front for now. See if anybody's coming down here yet. It should be about next lap or so when these guys come down for their set of pit stops here in Napa, Indy, California.
Yeah, I mean, the way the slipstream's going right now for a lot of these drivers, you know, with that long back straightaway and with this S-curve, you know, there are a lot of places to overtake, and the S-curve is probably one of the better ones, and especially maybe also that one turn with the wall. Those are probably the best turns to overtake because those are the easiest ones where people make the slightest mistake and they go completely off track and either into the gravel or they hit the wall.
Joe Rakowski got around Jonathan King back in the pack as we show the full field there. Jordan Lopez a little bit off the pace, and guys out of the race include Thomas Troxel, Christopher Alphaby, our last race winner here in the IndyCar Series, and Jaden Scott in the number 30. But everybody else still on the lead lap. So we'll have to see how it all plays out. Zajdel is third, Dan Park is second. Richard Kinghart's led the most laps in this race. He'll probably get an extra 2 points towards the championship for doing so. Here we go, down the pit lane. Dan Park's going to get an extra bonus point right there. So a bit of strategy play for Dan Park.
Zajdel is going to follow Kinghart into the pit lane.
And I think this is the smart thing to do, to come down early, get those fresh tires, and you get the faster lap off. A lot of guys staying out here. The 60 machine of Landon Lyons joining Christian Russell, Justin Zajdel, and Richard Kinghart down the pit lane, but they're the only four to come down on lap number 9. So the new race leader is Dan Park. He's the third leader in this race so far. Been Christian Russell out front for the first 2 laps. And from laps 3 to 9, it was actually laps 3 to 8, it was Richard Kinghart. Lap number 9 was led by Dan Park. I expect him to come down here. He's got a pretty significant lead on the number 3 machine. Off the pit lane first is Richard Kinghart, then Justin Zajdel. And then Landon Lyons, they are repairing the damage on Christian Russell. He's going to lose a lot of ground in the number 4, unfortunately, after he was running up front a majority of this race. Here comes Dan Park down the pit lane, and he's got a significant lead on the rest of the field right here. Keyshawn Richardson, Al Agassi, and everybody else coming down right here.
And the whole train of cars just comes into the station. And if you want to know what a car park looks like, this is it. This is the car park outside of Tesco if you're in the UK, or Walmart if you live in the US.
Yep, my local Walmart looks a lot like that. A lot of cars out there.
Yeah.
Either way, here comes Dan Park down the pit lane. He was the race leader when he came down. We've got to see where he comes in relation to this guy, Richard Kinghart. He pulled away from Zajdel, I think. This is Kinghart's race to lose at this point. And he's coming off the final corner right now. He's going to cross the line and begin lap 11. These guys are coming off, though.
And they just jumped everyone. Like,
and
the top...
Dan Park just jumped Richard Kinghart.
What?
How about that one?
Oh,
he stayed.
man.
It was a good strategy for him. He was able to get it to work. But Kinghart's right here. Keyshawn Richardson surpasses Justin Zajdel. Al Agassi rounds out the top 5 off the pit lane. And we're going to have a battle for this win here at Riverside. Richard Kinghart has the warmer tires, so for the first couple laps he's going to have a slight advantage, but Dan Park will eventually get that advantage back. But, it's going to be between these two guys, and what Keyshawn Richardson wants is for them to get into a scuffle so he can take the race win. Or, you know what? Zajdel might get around Richardson here, and Kinghart might get around Dan Park. We need a split cam for this one. We're going to follow with the race lead. Kinghart to the inside of Dan Park for the race lead on lap 11 of 15.
Kinghart will get it here into the turn. I mean, yeah, and he will. Kinghart will make the pass. As Dan Park gets kind of gets shunted out there. Kinghart up to 3rd now. Can he be able to chase down Dan Park for 2nd?
Zajdel, you meant to say right there, is running in 3rd right now. He got around Keyshawn Richardson. Oh, but you know what? Dan Park is still in this thing, trying to close in on Richard Kinghart, and now what Zajdel wants is for those guys to have a scuffle so he can take the race win away. And the way these guys overshoot this corner, and they've been overshooting this corner in this race, I would not be surprised if it happened. Zajdel's been running a clean race in the number 10. But these guys are the two guys leading the race so far. Kinghart and Dan Park. One of these guys I think will get the race victory only unless they wreck each other. And then the next guy in line is a guy who's finished 2nd every race so far, Justin Zajdel in number 10, who currently runs 3rd here at Riverside. Absolutely unbelievable what he's been able to do in that number 10.
Yeah, I mean, just the way Zajdel has been performing today has been pretty well. And, I mean, there's the top 3 so far, the podium that's running so far of Richard Kinghart, Dan Park, and Justin Zajdel. They have done a great job today. I mean, Dan Park pulled the strategy key right on pitch strategy to be able to get out in front of Kinghart, at least for a little bit before Kinghart passed him or overtook him again. And the way Zajdel has been performing today, I mean, it's been good. I mean, the podium has been doing a great strategy today, all 3 of them around.
Yeah, they've all been doing a great job because they are in the top 3 positions, and you got to do a good job to be in the top 3 positions here at Riverside, I'll tell you that much. Now, Richard Kinghart started on the outside pole for this race, but with Christian Russell overshooting the corner or pole sitter, he was able to surpass him, but he's got to hold off Dan Park here. It's going to be 2 laps to go next time by in NAPA, Indy, California for Richard Kinghart, trying to hold off Dan Park for this race victory. And Justin Zajdel,
push to pass yet.
There is no push to pass here.
Oh.
But Justin Zajdel, he was in a similar position last year here at Riverside when Eric Monaco came down in that very race car he's driving. And for the race lead, Dan Park trying to get to the inside of Richard Kinghart. He's all over the back bumper of the number 13.
The slipstream is real, people.
It definitely is. These guys get a high drag off these guys, even though we run a low drag package. Oh, Kinghart really pulled away there. That slipstream still comes into effect, and Dan Park lost a little bit of ground, but it's far from over. Now watch out for Kinghart. You never know when they might overshoot this corner.
No, they're actually going to go good.
Really good run there through the corner.
2 laps to go, no less.
So Zajdel holding on to 3rd. Al Agassi around Keyshawn Richardson. That is for 4th. And every position matters in this championship. It's a strict points championship, so every position gets you more points than the position behind you. And Agassi with a great run here today in the top 5. One of the highly experienced guys in this series as well. Agar Barretto's running 6th. Marty Johnson, Audra Baranowskis, Cody Smart, Colton Yo, the top 10. And Kinghart's pulled away from Dan Park. Dan Park did not get through the S's too well that last lap, so it might be an easy win for Kinghart at this point. White flag in the air for the number 13 at Riverside.
Now you say it might be a win for Kinghart, but then again, he may overshoot the turn there and hit the wall. Anything is possible here on this final lap. It's basically
Dan
all
Park,
out.
that was not what Dan Park wanted to do. Kinghart can ride it easy here. He's got to ride it easy if he's going to have a shot at this one. Here we go. It's the dreadful corner. He's got it.
He's gonna make it through. And
so Richard Kinghart, only unless something bizarre happens, just like it happened last year. The race leader had a fuel leak coming to the finish. I mean, if that happens, Dan Park wins, and Justin Zajdel happens to finish second again. I just don't know, guys.
I don't know. It would be so bizarre.
I mean, Zajdel, all he needs for one of these guys to not finish the race, and he's got another second-place run, but I don't think that's going to happen today.
No.
It looks like it's going to be Richard Kinghart. He was able to get the dominating performance to work in his favor, and off the final corner, Richard Kinghart wins NAPA Indy California at Riverside. Dan Park will shut out Justin Zajdel from the second position, but Zajdel will remain in the points lead after he gets a third-place run here at Riverside. He has not finished lower than third in the first 4 races of the season, driving at number 10. Al Legacy and Keyshawn Richardson round out the top 5 here in Napa, Indy, California.
Oh yeah, this was a very, very huge race here today, and I mean a very surprising one almost in the sense, but I mean, in a word for Kinghart's performance today, it simply was dominance right here. He led practically every lap.
All but 4.
Yeah, all but 4. He practically almost led every lap. He was very dominant from the beginning and all the way to the end. And to hold off
almost Dan Park there. Yeah, he
hold
did a
off
good
Dan
job
Park.
getting around him there. Dan Park had a shot, but Kinghart just had the better race car, and with that, the number 13 goes to victory lane with Dan Park. And Justin Zajdel almost had it. He almost had another second-place finish. Just couldn't get it, but he's doing pretty good. And everybody's got to worry now in the championship. I mean, normally this early on in the season, you don't worry about the championship. But if somebody has well over probably 50-point lead now, this early on, you got to start thinking about the championship because it's going to take a lot to surpass them. I mean, we still have 12 races left in the season. Indianapolis 250. So much could go on between now and the finish of the season in August, but hey, you know what? A lot can happen, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all goes down. Let's go ahead and review the accident that happened, or a couple of accidents between Alpha B and Scott and Thomas Troxel, Jordan Lopez. Of course, they did not bring out cautions because we were at a road course, but we'll go ahead and tell you what happened right now. Well, this is what happened to Jaden Scott and Christopher Alpha B through one of the S's. They just lost it. They both went upside down, went up the hill. It's a violent accident, but thankfully, it's not a real game, so we don't have to call the caution out for that. Tough break for Jaden Scott and Christopher Alphaby on lap number 1. And this is what happened between Thomas Troxel and Jordan Lopez. And Troxel went into that corner way too hot, clipped Lopez, and into the outside wall they went. That knocked out Troxel in the race, and Lopez not getting a good finish after that one either. So those were the only 2 accidents we had in the race. The eventual winner of the race was Richard Kinghart in the number 13. So there are the official standings of the race once again. Final thoughts on this race, Alex. You got Kinghart getting his first win this season. He's been doing pretty strong here, and he finally got it at Riverside.
Man, this was a really great race. I'll definitely tell you that. I mean, it was just it was really good. You had 3, maybe 5 people at best in contention to win this. You had number 4 of Christian Russell. You had Richard Kinghart in the mix. You had Dan Park, Justin Zajdel, from where he started to where he finished now on the podium. I mean, that's, these were probably the 4 drivers that were in contention and had great runs. Well, I say that, but the way Christian Russell finished in the end. But at the start of the race, he was a threat. Richard Kinghart was probably the biggest threat of the race. And Dan Park was in the mix, Justin Zajdel. I mean, it was a good race all in all. I'll definitely say it. Had a lot of action, had a lot of overtakes, and you had a lot of, who's going to finish where and who's going to be where when the pit cycle ended.
Yeah, but Kinghart was able to best Dan Park. Dan Park had a great strategy. He came out ahead of Kinghart, just could not hold off Kinghart. And number 13 gonna come home with the race victory. 52 points towards the championship. Actually, 53 points because he led a lap and led the most laps in this race. So almost maximum points. He didn't start on the pole for the bonus point there. As a matter of fact, Polster has yet to win a race this season, so that's an interesting stat right there. But how about Kinghart getting his race victory, and how about Justin Zajdel pulling away in this championship? And we're only 4 races in. Next time we race here in the IndyCar Series, I believe it's 2 weeks from now at Richmond. It's not going to have any pit stops. It's going to be a 54-lap race there at Richmond. It's going to be a fast one. It's going to be interesting. That race is always interesting there on that short track. Probably the shortest track we go to all season. But it's going to be fun to see who gets the win over there down in Virginia. But either way, we thank you for watching the 4th race of the season here in the Haas IndyCar Series here this Friday evening. Tomorrow at noon, it's the Interstate Batteries 500 from Texas. Me and Alex actually just did that before recording this one. And we're not going to give anything away, but we can tell you it was a pretty darn good race, wasn't it?
Oh, it was a crazy race. And I'm not going to say who won, and I'm not going to say who finished where, but y'all are going to be very surprised of who the winner is and how this race turned out, because it was a crazy one.
Yep. So go ahead and check it out tomorrow at noon, right here on NAPA Fan. Congratulations to Richard Kinghart in his race victory. Here are the point standings after 4 races in the Haas IndyCar Series 2019. And thank you guys very much for watching once again. On behalf of Alex Bonsignor, I will see you guys later.